Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The scenario is The Burning Stars. It was written by David Conyers, and it can be found in Terrors from Beyond. Our game master is Matthew Sanderson, and this is episode 5. Our recap will be given by John Dos Passos as his character, Donna Sterling. So without any further delays, let's continue our journey into the darkness. John?
The Journal of Donna Sterling, anthropology student. We woke up on November 1st, All Saints' Day, with the unsettling feeling that the clock was ticking on us. Or rather, the clock was ticking on us finding Jack alive and not the object of some cruel cult sacrifice. And at the very least, the bodies we discovered in the previous days helped convince the others of the group that we were in a little over our heads and needed to arm ourselves with some more information about what in the Haiti is going on here. The plan was that Mr. O'Neill was going to go contact my father's friend, business associate, Sebastian Senegal, to set up a meeting. And the rest of us would head to the library and get some information on something, look into some of the notes that Mr. Kessler took before. Then we would all meet at the library and then go see the mambo. So first, the group minus O'Neill, started heading there, and we split into some groups to try to throw off the ONI stealth teams, who luckily weren't very hard to spot, sticking out like sore thumbs amongst the locals and out of their element. The only advantage they had was that there was several teams of them we discovered, but my father paid off some local kids to mob one of the teams and waste another team's time sipping some coffee, and Mr. Randall and I were able to sneak into the library, and the others met up with us later. At the library, we found it was a limited selection and mostly in French and Creole, but a few of us spoke a smattering of Creole and a small bit of French, and so we were able to advise the group to search by keywords, which again we derived from Mr. Kessler's notes from before and the knowledge we gained from the tarot reader. I looked around for anything about star fools, but we couldn't find anything there. Amy, however, looked into the cult of the floating horror, and she was able to find a book, Africa's Dark Sects, which covers several cults in Africa, most notably the cult of the floating horror in Nigeria, with a bookmark marking a particular section she found in it, and it was the Hanged Man tarot card, inverted, and with the same strange art of some sort of gross monster figure, matching the same style of the design of the cards we found before. The passage in the book, coincidentally enough, that was marked by the cards seemed to describe a gruesome and detailed scene of what we saw on the strange tarot card. The rite described was so bizarre, even my study of the strange tribes and indigenous peoples, even with that, I can't imagine or come close to explaining it. Some sort of strange figure with things dangling off their face and third eyes opening and stuff that didn't make sense. It couldn't have been real, at least we thought. In the margin of the book, we found some notes that Amy must have wrote. She recognized her own handwriting. It indicated that the same cult in the book was active in Port-au-Prince, even using the same ritual perhaps. And it seemed to indicate that the star pools are a sacred site. We also learned from talking to some of the librarians that indeed our group was here before, and we looked at the same books as we did this time. Somehow, however, we ended up meeting Mr. O'Neill at the docks, and worst of all, none of us remember how we got there. We experienced another blackout. However, before Mr. O'Neill blacked out, he, I think, did accomplish what he went there to do. And moreover, he found another tarot card. A tarot card of the devil, inverted, and of the same design as the others. Afterwards, we went to visit the mambo. That visit was definitely enlightening, I guess, so to speak. She confirmed some things that we had already started to put together. There is a cult on the island. They're up in the hills. It's a cult to some sort of crawling chaos. She also told us some things that we didn't want to hear. She confirmed what I knew when we first woke up in that hospital. We had already lost something. I just didn't know what or who for sure until she confirmed it. I didn't want it to be true. but I knew that we had already lost Jack. She said that he's destined to be the next host, and that our only hope to stop more horrible things from happening is to kill him. She suggested shooting him through the third eye. My father, of course, didn't want to hear it and ran out of at the end of the meeting with the mambo. But this is something, there was something in me that knew what she spoke was true. She also confirmed that the star pools can be found in the hills. That is where the cult operates. And inside them dwells some sort of beast, the lurker. It's, I quote, a terrible and awesome being not of this world that lives in the pools. It's essentially the cult's guard dog, but significantly more horrible than that. And our only chance is to disguise ourselves as friends of this crawling chaos. The mambo took out a strange box with a weird burning star on the outside. And inside was a lump of this greenish stone in some sort of odd configuration with a curved edge chipped in two places to make a very, very sharp cutting edge. She made it clear that one of us would have to cut their hand, O'Neill pointed out, just like the Ashanti warrior did in the stories that we read. And that by doing this, they would share blood with the crawling chaos and mark oneself as a friend. However, she also insinuated that they would also be marking themselves to be the next host, like Jack. She offered a disgusting-looking jar of what she alluded to being scorpion juice, among other things, that would counter some of the negative effects of the stone. And it would be the only thing keeping the person from going into a coma. It was Guy Randall who stepped forward, and in what was definitely the strangest sight I've ever seen in my entire life, cut himself on this strange stone and chugged the gross-looking juice with a grimace. But this simple act, I could tell, was something more. It had a strange feeling to it. You know, like giving a prayer at dinner, despite the fact that it doesn't, life isn't that simple. Anyway, we only have until the end of tomorrow. Then apparently the rite with Jack will be complete. We've definitely got some work to do, and not a lot of time.
Indeed, time is something that is quickly running out. So, as promised, our first scene tonight will be cutting over to Mr. Sterling and O'Neill outside, because I understand they wanted to have a quick chat.
So, Mr. Sterling, you need to calm down. I don't know. I don't know who to believe or what's really going on here.
Excuse me, I got something in my eye. O'Neill, do you have kids? I can't even remember anymore.
No, sir.
All right, so you don't know how it feels.
No, I understand. I guess I don't understand, but...
And unless I could... If he is some foul beast, I'll put a bullet into myself, because I can't let him live like that if he is. But we have to know. I'm not going to just go out there for some voodoo mumbo jumbo and kill my son. Remember, they keep saying something about being betrayed. Maybe this bitch is betraying us to kill him as a sacrifice for this voodoo bullshit.
Well, it's a possibility. And one of the, of course, this all involves us believing her, believing magical cards, believing some fortune teller. There's a lot of things that we're supposed to believe here. But if people seem to know that she's like the wise one, and we got pushed in this direction. Here's the thing, that rock, with cutting yourself and drinking the juice and all of that. Well, she said, if you cut your finger, you're going to be the next host. Can't we assume that Jack cut his finger with that
Right.
in order to become the host? Did he do this
or-
voluntarily?
Or somebody cut him.
Well, maybe, but the thing was dropped in the street, which I don't understand. At least that's what the lady says.
We need to talk to Senegal. I don't care if the ONI sees me. I need to fucking find answers.
So we've got that set up. What I'm wondering too is if there were other people that were killed. We don't know who Jack came over here with, right? He didn't come over with us. We came over here to get him.
We might have known, but we don't remember. That's the damn problem.
Right. But what if he went up there with them and he was the only one that drank the scorpion juice? So he was safe, but the rest of them were all killed.
Maybe,
What's the guarantee that Mr. Randall isn't just going to be safe and we're all going to get killed? I don't know. It's a lot to worry about. Maybe we should just go with the flow because we don't know what the fuck otherwise we're going to do.
Yeah, but I just putting a bullet in my son for some island fantasy. That's all I'm saying.
If this is all just just nonsense and magic, and I mean not real magic, but fake magic, then there's nothing that says that we have to kill him. That says that's all a bunch of bullshit, and we just rescue him from these primitives who believe in all this voodoo nonsense.
What we should do is tie up Donna and put her on the next boat home to her freaking mother. That's what we should do. I have such a headache right now.
Let's go back inside and see how they're progressing. Maybe we should all drink some of that stuff. I don't know.
Okay, well, inside, as Guy is chugging down the last bit of this juice that he needs to, and then putting the jar back on the table with this expression of desperately trying to keep his guts inside himself rather than just spew them all over the table. Mama Josephine turns to you as you come back in, and likewise to everyone else. Well, I believe that's everything I can do for the minute. The rest of it's going to be on you. She just shakes her head to herself. I'm going to have to part ways in a very short while. I've got duties to perform tonight for the Fet Guide.
Did Jack Sterling cut his finger on that stone?
She looks at you almost with a good poker face for a moment, and then just gently nods. Yes, I understand that's the case. He found it in the street, cut himself on it, and then it was one of the young boys who brought me the stone after they found what had happened.
May I ask, do you have a piece of cord or strap that I could use to tie to this?
Yes, of course. She turns around and starts going through a couple of boxes, and after a minute or so, turns around with a kind of a leather thong, so that you just give it a good tie and then tight knot at the end of it, and that should hold it.
Okay, I'm going to stick it around my neck and hide it behind my tie.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel, Guy?
I'm really not sure. I feel a bit queasy, but I don't know. There's something else. I just feel kind of uneasy, really.
Madam Josephine, do you have something we can wrap that thumb up as well?
Yes, I've got some bandage here somewhere. Again, she turns around and rootles around, and then turns back around with a small wrapped up kind of little cylinder of bandage that you just then unfurl.
Yeah, it's not.
She hands it over.
It's not really bleeding that much. I mean, it was a very sharp edge. It's a very fine cut.
Tropical diseases and all that.
Yeah, you got a point.
Now that we have the future host with us, that will let us get past the lurker, we hope. Can you advise us in any other way about preparations we can make? And do you know how many people are active in the cult now?
She kind of almost draws in breath a little bit. She looks upwards as she's thinking. I would say a significant number. It's not a small operation that they have up in the hills. I can't be more precise than that, but it's a lot of people. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them do come down to the city over the course of tonight and tomorrow. Maybe looking for the well, who knows? Maybe looking for you if you went up there before.
Will they recognize me because of what I've done?
They may not, but let's say any friends of theirs or any of their pets that aren't necessarily human, they would be able to tell that you've definitely been marked.
How did that nurse know that we were?
Some people are sensitive. They're rare, but they can sense such things. I very much doubt that anyone in the cult would possess such gifts. They tend to be weaker minds, those that are easily swayed towards darkness, rather than those who get a glimpse of the truth and gravitate more towards, let's say, figures such as myself.
My question is, if one of these more sensitive types, when we first were starting to get our bearings, said that we were marked by the Baron, then this was before Guy cut his finger. Why were we marked then?
Who has taken the card that she produced, or is it still sat on the table?
I think it's still on the table.
Okay. She points to the card then. Just says, "Remember who I said delivered that to me? I think someone has taken an interest in you for, let's say, interfering in his affairs."
Are there 5 cards because there's 5 of us?
She looks a little bit confused at that.
We found 4.
Yeah, but there's another one coming, the 10 of Swords.
A 5-card spread is a fairly standard tarot read.
Oh.
And there's 6 of us.
Oh, I never count myself. That's why I'm the assistant to all right.
She just shakes her head a little bit with, again, this look of slight confusion on her face.
I think you count, Mr. O'Neill.
Yeah, well, math isn't my high spot. I can shoot a gun.
I assume, Madam Josephine, that you'd like us to take the note that your visitor left.
She looks down at the table and says, I'd prefer it not to remain here.
Mm.
How long have I got to get back to you after tonight before it might become a problem?
I'd say you have a few days rather than hours. So you'll have plenty of time after what you need to do to get back. I mean, there's a clearing at the beginning of the path that leads out into the hills. I'll be waiting for you there. Let's say the morning after tomorrow night.
Should we burn these cards?
It's an option. It might incur someone's wrath, but having them is also equally its own problem. So
I'm going to slide it toward the edge of her desk or table with the eraser and my pencil and slip it into my wallet without touching it.
It just about goes in. Mm-hmm.
Well, good luck with your ceremony tonight, madam. I very much hope that we'll all be seeing you in that at the clearing that you described.
I'll be there.
Yeah, hopefully we will too. The other cultists, I assume, will come at us with everything they got when we show up there as interlopers.
More than likely.
Right, which is why if the lurker were on our side, we'd have a better chance.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Do you think if there's any chance that Guy can sway the thing that other cultists will not impede us?
She looks like she's mulling over a few possibilities in her head. There's a couple of ways I can see this going. Either they might believe that their thing has turned on them and they might flee. Alternatively, maybe for the better. I have seen them perform almost metaphorical or ritualistic acts of cutting themselves with regular stones to mimic the act of being cut with a sharp stone. Obviously, the one that you now possess, but obviously they haven't got one themselves, so they have to make do with just regular stone. So if they believe that another host has turned up, they might just fall and start cutting themselves in religious ecstasy.
Right. I mean, this might seem like a crazy idea, but could we convince them that because we obviously, if we get by the lurker, then we must be friends of the crawling chaos too. Could we perhaps show the stone or one of these cards and say that, you've been led astray, and we are the true followers. We are the exercising the true will of the crawling chaos, and you must bow to us, or something like that. Would that work?
Again, she looks like she's considering it. It might be possible if you can discredit King Calico and show that you are basically the personification of the crawling chaos will on Earth instead of him. Then it might make them turn against him. I honestly don't know. This is completely new territory for me.
I'm guessing though that would take a lot more knowledge of their cult than any of us have.
Right.
I mean, we don't have to tell them if we can show them.
I mean, we could just grab some machine guns and go up there and take care of this problem. I mean, we got Guy to take care of the lurker, but people are going to die if you shoot them.
Yeah, well, we're not going up empty-handed, certainly.
But what if there's 50 cultists?
Machine gun.
You're gonna play the gamble of, do you have enough bullets before they have run out of people?
I think we got enough bullets. The thing is that my guess is that going up there, they're not going to be coming at us from all directions. They're going to be coming along the path. So you just shoot towards the path and you're going to get all of them.
You'll need more than 50 bullets.
More than 50? Well,
Hopefully that's where Sebastian comes in.
I forget, sir. Are these 50 caliber?
There's a mix.
50 caliber is going to go through 5 of them before it stops.
You stand a chance of getting some help from Sebastian if you can reason with him. As I said, he's had a run-in with this group before. He will be reluctant to want to cross them himself again. I would recommend getting any help you can from any source, to be honest.
I have exactly what Sebastian needs. And if he wants it, he's going to help me.
Okay, she nods.
Well, I think we're there. Let's leave.
Mm-hmm. Right, I will. I'll wish you good luck, and I will go to prepare for my evening. And she turns around again and kind of goes under the desk and pulls out what looks to be like a black, almost like a morning dress, but there's hints of purple in there as well. She just throws it over one arm and heads towards the back door, and kind of turns around and just gives that kind of look as if she's just waiting for you to leave now.
I guess we should probably leave then.
What time is it?
Should we take the box for the stone? Or I guess you'll bring that up when you release Guy from this thing?
He's going to hang it around his neck, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll
got
need,
it around his
to
neck.
have it close.
But we want to put it someplace safe when you take it off. But I guess you can arrange that. I got it. All right. Good night.
Yeah, and she watches you go. You can give me a psychology roll as you're heading out. This is for everyone.
39 out of 58, so a regular.
That 90 is not a success.
My
surprised if it
17
was.
is a hard.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Oh, yeah, that's a standard. Yes, standard pass.
Okay, so a few of you got standards. Some of you got hard. Some of you have no inkling whatsoever. Those of you that succeed, even just regular success is fine on this. Notice that as you're leaving, you catch that again. She's got this good kind of poker face that she's trying to keep a lot of the fact that she is scared about the mention of the word, the name, Nyarlathotep, and such, being an active presence around you. But you also catch that she's kind of troubled, and you're sensing that there's remorse. She's definitely saddened by what's gone on here, and that you think she's probably holding back crying, and that she's waiting for you to head out before she has a private moment. But you're out on the street now after having gone through the laundrette with the security guard still reading aloud the newspaper. And you are outside.
Shirt's clean yet.
Overall, do I feel any different after?
Given that your power is now beyond human limits, yeah, you do. You feel almost energized, more full of life, and generally just this more powerful than you've ever felt before. This inner strength and inner willpower that's just off the scale compared to anything you've previously known.
So do we go back to our apartment or hotel and clean up, or what?
What arrangements did you make with Senegal?
Oh, that's right. We're going to meet with him. We have his address.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just going to head to his address, aren't we? Yeah.
Right. To give you the lay of the land, because I can now show you the full version of the map, because you've got you know where every location is on here, rather than having to hide various parts.
And Matthew, as I'm assuming we're going to get cabs that go there. I want to stop off and buy a few bottles of rum, some cigars, whatever gifts I think would be appropriate. I'll ask the shopkeeper, and a big old box filled with crap.
Well, one thing that they certainly have an abundance of at the minute is cigars, black coffee, and Clarin, which is of sugarcane white rum. Because that stuff flies off the shelf around Fetgeed for some particular reason.
Well, a case of rum and an assorted case of the other stuff. So 2 cases.
Yep, that is definitely not a problem.
Enough for the men he's bringing.
We're heading all the way across town, huh?
Yep, you are down here at Mama Josephine, so you're probably about a couple of miles, about a mile and a half, 2 miles away from the hotel. But it is all the way back up here to his warehouse, kind of in the Docklands area, very close to where you were for the import-export company.
And then it's north beyond that we're going to find the star pools.
It's actually the star pools are down in the kind of south, southeast corner. So the path will be somewhere out in that direction.
All right.
So as you set off, you have your couple of taxis as you previously arranged. You start heading, and to get to the main road, you have to go towards the Grand Cemetery, and then take a road then takes you go slightly towards the northeast in angle, and then you zigzag across the grid network to get across to Senegal's warehouse. Now, this is late afternoon, early evening by this point as you're going across town. The evening between the 2 days of the Fetgid ceremonies or celebrations, that's when stuff starts to go down out on the streets, but it tends to congregate mainly towards the cemeteries. So as you're passing by the cemetery, you can see some of the activity going on there, because there are so many people out on the streets that having a car move anywhere near quickly just ain't going to happen. You're kind of crawling by the cemetery, just waiting for people to move out of the way. This seems to be very much a community event. There are people of all ages, men and women, out on the streets. In the cemeteries themselves, you can hear drums beating, and there are people dancing. In the clearer areas, you can see some of the graves are open. That some of them look as though they've been open for a little while. Some of them look more fresh. By some of the fresher open graves, you can see there are both men and women, presumably relatives of those that have recently died, which are on their knees wailing and kind of head up to the sky, arms outstretched. Others are repairing damage to what look to be some of the more well-weathered tombs. I mean, some of the tombs and crypts here are as big as a house. They are pretty darn big. There are also groups of, by their clothing, you would expect them probably to be beggars or homeless. That they're moving around the groups that are gathered together in the cemetery. Some of them with their arms outstretched, blatantly begging for money. But probably the most disconcerting thing is, especially out on the street, and they're kind of going in and out of the cemeteries and in and out of the surrounding buildings, there are various women which have got this white powder all over their face, almost to the point where they look like a walking corpse, that they are that pale and pallid. They're dressed in a combination of dresses which are, again, this black and purple color scheme. And the best way to describe it is that they are being very lewd, that they are being very provocative. In fact, one of the reasons why your taxi is stopped a couple of times is because at least one or two of these figures will go prostrate on the front of the car. Is it almost as if they are trying to perform certain acts with the hood before they start to move away, almost as if they're drugged or in a trance, that they definitely seem to be under the effects of some kind of narcotic. Others look down at you from windows and again give you gestures, almost beckoning for you to come up to their rooms. Others press up against the windows and rub themselves up against the car. It's definitely not behavior that you are accustomed to say the least. But after what feels like quite a long time, the taxis push on past the crowds, and the streets gradually, as you get further away from the cemeteries, open up more. And, well, admittedly, you still have to go through a couple of checkpoints as well, because they still operate through day and night. And there is definitely the military eye is keeping watch on the streets to make sure things don't turn nasty. But it seems like everything is proceeding in as a good taste as it possibly can. And probably it takes you a couple of hours to get across town. The driver informs you, that's the address over there. And you're probably a couple of warehouses away. And you can see that there are lights on inside, this warehouse. It's a normal rectangular building. There's nothing special about it. There are a couple of two what looks to be beaten up Model T Fords parked out front and a flatbed truck.
So, Mr. Sterling, you've never met this fellow in the past, right? I understand that.
Not
Yeah.
face to face.
Is there any way in particular you want to play this meeting? Do you want us to be there in force?
Why don't you let me go up there first? I'm guessing that maybe the warehouse guy I met probably called and told them that we were snooping around.
But first, I tell everybody, let's look around before we leave the cab and look for the ONI.
Yeah.
Give me a spot hidden roll.
03.
I got a
Or
half.
six.
half.
I got a 4.
3, 4,
We
6.
know what they
Yeah.
look like.
Oh wait, there are those white guys.
I got a 19. I think we all got at least a hard then, didn't we?
Hey.
Mine was just regular at 66, but
There's always one that breaks the trend. Well, it sounds like with rolls like those, I can't hide anything from you. You are pretty damn certain that you are alone out here, other than the 2 armed guards, which you can see lurking in the shadows, doing his best job to remain hidden as possible, but not against a load of eagle eyes like you. There are 2 armed guards keeping an eye on the warehouse, but there's no sign at all of the ONI.
I'll go up there first to make sure the coast is clear, and then I'll give you the signal. If something goes wrong, I'll give you the signal that something's wrong, you know.
I pass you 2 cigars also.
Yeah, all right.
Given that this is got a covert meeting, I assume the rest of us should just wait here.
Unless I gesture for you to come forward.
Okay.
Sometimes these people like their hospitality.
And I think a little show of bravado on our side with a street level guy like this would go a long way too. So it's better if we all go, I believe.
Well, okay. Let me go first. Where's my gun? Oh, yeah. It's in my
Unless
desk.
one of you want to hang back in case something happens and come around the back. I don't think it will. He wants what's in the warehouse.
I think maybe
No, don't snoop around. No.
better to take him at face value.
Yeah.
Right.
You start trying to double think him, and you could get into all sorts of trouble.
Actually, I'm not going to go with the gun out. But,
Yeah.
All right. So I'll walk up there.
Okay, well, the entrance is pretty blatant. It's right at the front of the building, which is one of the short edges of the rectangle, so it goes back away from the road rather than running alongside it. As you move up towards the door, you see out of the corner of your eye the shadows move, and these 2 guys come in with like a pincer movement towards you, but not rushing. They just casually walk up, making it very clear that they are holding 2 very big rifles.
Right. Hey, boys. We are here to see Mr. Senegal, Mr. Sterling, and his people. I'm his assistant.
Okay, they nod, and then they say something in French. Can you give me a French roll?
Showa. Sounds delicious. No, I don't understand what they're saying. Bonjour, bonsoir.
You can see at least the one that you're looking at, he kind of rolls his eyes, and then in very broken English, you see boss.
We.
You here.
Who's he pointing to?
He's pointing down at the ground.
Oh.
And then he says something in French again to his partner, who kind of cocks his rifle, and the other guy heads inside.
Okay. So he wants me to wait. That's what he's saying? All right.
You get that impression, yeah.
See, I couldn't count them before in English. I can count them in French. Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq. I don't know, six.
Six, is it?
Six?
Six.
Six.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the limit of my GCSE French gone right there.
I only took a year and a half of French lessons last year.
Right. You're counting, and he's kind of looking at you, kind of a little bit bizarrely, and you're kind of shrugging his shoulders as if to say, "Well, so what?"
Yeah. My French is merde.
Ah. And you can see it's almost like he starts giving directions.
Hand him a cigar.
Okay, yeah, he'll take it. He definitely he kind of eases up a little bit, and he's kind of giving you his direction as if he's gesturing you that when you go through the door, go forward a long way, and then it's off on the right.
Merci beaucoup, chérie.
Right, the door opens, and the same guy you saw before kind of gestures for you to come inside. Though, as you take a step forward, he kind of holds a hand up a second, and just you. Questioning
Non,
tone.
non. Moi et Monsieur James Sterling.
He's kind of looking around as if to say, "Well, where is he?"
So I sort of wave for you.
If
One
you
finger.
guys don't mind grabbing one of the crates each.
Yeah, that's no problem. We'll walk slow and keep everything visible.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope he speaks English.
Donna, please stay behind, and Amy. Sorry.
Donna's already gone away and hidden by the look of it.
Well,
She's already inside having coffee with Mr. Senegal.
I'm your best French speaker, but sure, leave me behind.
no, I didn't say leave you behind. I said for Donna to stick close to Amy.
She's got her
Where's Amy
fingers in
gonna
hers. Now she can hear you.
So we all walk in.
So Donna and Amy are sticking close together.
Okay. Right. In which case, once you're in through the front entrance, it's not particularly difficult to see the whole layout of the building and get an idea of what's what. Right. So there's this little alleyway that goes along the side to the neighbouring warehouse, but otherwise there's a good gap here, and then plenty of tree and foliage around the general area. Coming in through the front entrance, you've got a door immediately off to your left, which Senegal is coming out of. He's quite an imposing figure, quite a weathered face, plenty of scars. He radiates an air of authority, shall we say. There's another office next door, which, given the way the door swings open and it is open, you can see directly inside. There's a table inside where there's basically a group of guys playing poker around a table in there. So, again, nothing particularly unusual. You've got a series of crates and boxes, and all over the floor, there's impressions that there's been flour stored here. Flour, perhaps other such powdered substances as well, so maybe like sugar, perhaps. But you can also give me a spot hidden roll.
That's a fail.
Regular success.
I also got a regular success.
Fail.
Okay, so it sounds like only Dirk and Donna got a success then. Right, there are two things that otherwise you notice beyond the fact there's the other room at the far end, the storeroom. That room is dark; you can't see through the door there, but you know the lights aren't on. Rear entrance back here, and a bathroom that, even when you are this far away, you can still catch a whiff of the scent coming out of there.
Ugh.
It has one of the loveliest one-line descriptions that I've read in any book for a while. It just says functional and unpleasant. Very, very unpleasant.
Fitting.
But what your eyes get drawn to is the floor here, where you've got what evidently seems to be a trapdoor, and also in this blank section over here. The floorboards evidently have been cut in such a way to form a trapdoor. So this wasn't an original feature of the building. This has been added. And you can hear rushing water coming from underneath it. So you think it probably opens to, as it says there, it opens to a storm drain. Over here, similar kind of things have been done, but it's attempted to be hidden more so. That you think there's definitely some kind of, almost like a secret cache or stash of something underneath the floorboards in that area. So they can definitely be lifted up. You can tell that from looking at the place.
Monsieur Senegal, this is Monsieur Sterling.
No.
Our French is not so good.
He looks at you a little bit confused and then actually responds in English. You are Sterling.
Yes.
You have my guns.
Yes, I do.
Would you like to follow me into my office and we shall have a chat?
First, I brought something for you and your men, and some creative rum, cigars, black coffee.
No, he looks appreciatively and nods. Very, very thoughtful. And he says something in French, which Amy will catch as basically the equivalent of Bob the guard. Take that and give it to the guys in the break room. And he gestures towards the second office. And yeah, the guards promptly come to you and offer to take your goods off you, and then presumably you're giving them to them.
Yeah.
And they head off towards the second office, and Senegal is gesturing you to come into his.
There's a few things we need to discuss. You'll get your guns, but some other things have happened. I think some of my friends here can fill you in on some of the details too. I think we have a mutual enemy. If you don't mind, a couple.
Sure. His eyes narrow a little bit in maybe confusion, or maybe kind of what the hell are you talking about? But yeah, he just gestures you for you to come into his office.
So I waved the group in.
Mm-hmm.
I said, the guns, don't worry, they're at the warehouse. You could pick them up at any time.
Which warehouse?
I point to O'Neill.
The one that's there.
Do you show him the invoice then?
Yeah, I'll show him the invoice.
Yeah, he nods and says, "Oh, I know it. In fact, Francis Matreau did give me a call to say that you might be coming by. So that would understand. Yeah, that would."
Excellent.
I hear you've been having trouble with something up in the hills.
I thought the main trouble was with the Americans, and they are more confined to the creature comforts of town.
Nyarlathotep.
He stops in his tracks.
And the one card that I have, I take out of my pocket. I don't remember which one it was. The first one.
I'll take the one out
Death.
of my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
The devil.
They have my son.
Okay, he blinks. People can give me your choice of psychology or spot hidden.
Psychology.
Spot hidden.
37, regular success.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go for psychology.
My spot hidden is a hard.
Okay.
Failed.
I've just rolled an extreme.
Nice.
Okay.
My
Right. For those
magical
of you,
powers playing off now.
Yeah.
Hey.
Wow.
For those of you that went with psychology, you can read his expression. He's perplexed by the tarot cards, but he's not afraid of them. With the extreme there, the main reason he's not afraid of them is because he doesn't really know what the hell they are. So he's not in. He has never seen these before. He doesn't know the significance of them, and he certainly doesn't know the connection between these and various aspects of the crawling chaos. Who went for spot hidden apart from Dirk? Okay. Did Amy pass as well?
I didn't pass, sorry. But that's what I was looking for.
Oh, that's fine. You don't make the sand check. Dirk does.
Okay, I went for spot hidden too, but I didn't pass.
Did you? You didn't pass though, no? Okay, no. Only if you succeed on spot hidden, I need a sand check.
Okay.
And I failed that sand check.
Okay, it's not a massive amount. It's only, I think it's just the 1 point. Check. Yep, just the 1 point. Mainly because you catch that Senegal's eyes kind of for 1 second flick across the room when you mention when that particular word beginning with N is mentioned, and his gaze lands on a filing cabinet in the corner of the room that's now kind of behind you. So you end up following his gaze and turning your head to look behind you. And sat on top of the filing cabinet is a skull. It's been polished, so there's no flesh remaining on it. It's weirdly distorted, and the majority of it looks like a human skull. I mean, definitely the eyes, the cheekbones, but then when it goes below that, it almost seems to elongate into almost like a lizard-like snout with a third hole in the middle of the forehead. That the bone structure within the socket looks like it's been subjected to blunt force trauma, and there are a series of radial cracks coming out from what looks like a very high caliber bullet hole.
His English is quite fluent sounding.
He's relatively good, yeah.
And he let us into his office, just him and us.
Yes.
In a gesture of profound trust for a revolutionary. I'm gonna have to wait and see negotiations with Mr. Sterling before I ask about his brother. But we know that his brother did not come back from the pools, so
you may be thinking that part of him did.
Yeah.
So, Monsieur Senegal, I know you have had dealings with these cultists.
He just nods and looks at you without saying anything. But there's quite an intense look in his eyes.
They have my son. I need him rescued, saved, and I want this cult dead. The O&I is on to our little arrangements, just so you know. I've put them off for now, but they are poking their bloody noses into things. Get my son, end these fucking cultist lives, and everything in that warehouse is free. You don't owe me a penny. And if the job's done correctly, we'll figure a way to send you another 50 crates on me. But I want my son.
Okay. He takes a step back, visibly. You put it this way: the words you've said have a degree of impact.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a persuade roll, but I'm going to give you a couple of bonus die on that.
Persuade is 50. First one I failed. You said bonus die.
2 bonus die.
2 bonus die. 28, and then the third bonus die is a fail. So 28 is my best.
Okay, is that a pass?
Oh yeah, I'm 50.
Oh, there you go. Then. Do you want to spend 3 points of luck to make that a hard, or are you happy with the regular?
No, I'll spend 3 points of luck.
Okay. you can see that you've pretty much given him an offer he can't refuse. He sits down in the chair behind the desk and kind of leans back. I can't turn down an offer of that much weaponry.
I want every last one of those cultists, man or woman, dead. And then you'll have another 50 crates coming. But we have to change up our meeting.
How do you know that I know about them?
And I look to Amy and to Donna.
He looks confused.
Well, didn't you do the research to find the...
Well, we consulted the mambo.
Yeah, it was.
I'm giving other people a chance to talk to them. That's why.
An outside source
But
informed us of that. We don't want to break confidences.
I know. I understand you're already friends with Madame Josephine.
Oh, yeah. He nods, given that kind of penny drop moment. Yes, me and the mama go back quite a way.
Is she trustworthy?
Well, she must trust you if she told you that about me. Did she explain the exact nature of my previous run-in with this unsavory group?
No, she told us that it cost you a lot, and if you'll forgive me, I noticed the shrine, the remnant.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Sterling's son is also a host.
He just kind of bares his teeth and kind of breathes in a definite grimace. You have my condolences and sympathies, sir.
Thank you.
He just nods to the skull. That's all that remains of my brother now. He found something which turned him into a monster. We tried to hide him. They found him. They took him and they broke both of my arms in the process. They wanted him as some kind of messiah. He was no longer a man. He was more lizard than man. They took him up into the hills. I followed with 2 arms in splints, but I was still able to get in there and put a bullet in my brother's third eye to stop him from, turning anymore.
Is it irreversible? Is my son done for?
I believe Mama would know more than I. I know that there's a point of no return. And if your boy is anything like my brother was when I found him, then it's a mercy to blow his brains out through that third abomination of an eye. I'm sorry, there's no way to sugarcoat it. That if he no longer looks like your son, you've got to do it.
Now, I don't know if I'm sitting or standing at this point, but if I'm sitting, I stand up, noticeably wet eyes, and I extend my hand to Senegal, and I take it with both hands, and I say, just take out every one of these bastards. I'll give you everything you want, and then some. They have to pay. And then I sit back down, and
He just nods, and he definitely gives you it's a meaningful and strong grasp that he gives you. He just holds up a finger and goes over to the wall that connects with the other office and just hammers on the wall. You can hear everyone inside get up quite quickly and head out into the main part of the warehouse. And seconds later, there's a line of, looks to be probably about a dozen guys outside. kind of rapidly trying to get themselves to form an attention. You can see them spacing themselves out an arm's length each way. And he walks past you and just puts a hand on your shoulder, or kind of pats you on the shoulder and says, "Please come with me."
Right, I follow.
No. Everyone else following out?
Yeah. I think it would be pretty rude to snoop around his office under these circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might be undoing a lot of goodwill you've just earned. Right. When he goes outside, he barks an order quickly in French, which, again, Amy and those of you that have got a half-decent French score will be able to translate as "open the cache." And 4 of them break away and rush over to that area on the map where it's all, as mentioned, bits of the floorboards that could easily be pulled up. And they start opening it up and pulling out crate after crate after crate of weaponry. Some of the highlights that you find there, particularly as at least a few of you are connected with weaponry and know what these things are when you see them. You lose track of how many 30-06 rifles they've got. They've got several dozen 38 revolvers. There's also there's kind of crates full of knives, machetes. But the icing on the cake is the 3 Thompson submachine guns that they pull out and the 3 drums of ammo per gun that they lay out and put on the floor in front of you. Senegal kind of gestures to it and then turns back round to you and says, "This is what we have at the moment." See, not quite enough to start a little war, but by the time that you've followed through at your end of the bargain, then we will have.
O'Neill, give him the paperwork so he could retrieve the stuff from the...
I think O'Neill's putting his ears back in. He's very quiet too.
Yes, I'm very quiet. It's because I'm... Mr. Sterling, are you sure what you're doing here? You're talking about $100,000 worth of stuff. And by the way, that's about 1,500,000 in modern worth of guns.
If Jack is already dead, what else? What's the point? We'll kill everyone. You've got employees. You've got family. You've got. What do you think? This is my own. This is my side money. I have contracts with every U.S. depot from here to Kenosha.
I mean, you do what you want to do. It's not
and then
my
I leaned
money.
in and I said, "Don't forget about the Russians. This is pennies."
All right, so I'll give him the paperwork. Jesus
O'Neill,
Christ.
Where else are we going to get an army at the drop of a hat? We have less than 24 hours.
You could always just make another kid. I'm his employee. I just do what he says, but holy shit.
Okay, you hand over the paper. Senegal takes it, he looks it over, he smiles, folds it up and puts it into his very beaten jacket in a pocket. Says, "Well, I have see some men here. I can call for more. When do you need them by?"
Are we doing this tonight or tomorrow night?
We're going up tomorrow late afternoon. That's what Mama Josephine suggested.
Otherwise, we'll be out of time.
And you probably have a better idea than we do about how many associates we're going to be up against.
He nods. The last time, well, the only time I was up there, I spotted over 100. So, I mean, I can get you. I need people to stay here because we have reason. We must have a presence here. But I can get you, and this is where we pause to do a quick dice roll. With your hard success, you can give me 2d20, please.
2d20. Oh, come on. 13 and 19.
Okay, so that'll be 32. Yep, I can give you. I can if you need to go up tomorrow afternoon, I can probably raise just over 30 men to be able to accompany you.
I look to Neil.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right. I know where the path is to go up to their loathsome place, so I can arrange for them to meet you there at the time of your choosing. And he essentially describes to you where this path is. That he gives you a route that goes through the slums out towards the southeast, and describes that it's going to be a roughly 4-hour trawl for our walk to get up there. Starting to go through fairly normal terrain. As you go up into the hills, it'll be cypress groves, the long grass, but then you'll start getting into more stony territory and some very thick forest and jungle. Once you get past there, that's the point of no return. That if you're committing to going in there, you're going in armed and you're going in with intent, because not many people that go beyond that point. When you start finding the cliffs, that's where people generally don't come back.
Now, from dodging and seeing the naval team so much, I give, as best as I can recall, a description of how they trail people, their description, the clothes they wore, the facial, however, blonde, blue-eyed, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
They usually start here. They work in this pair. These two guys are with each other at all times. As best I can to, that way, before they move the stuff, I would suggest maybe if they see them, take a couple empty crates, go in opposite directions.
Mm-hmm. Not a problem. You can see definitely a couple of them making mental notes. One of them actually does pull out a notepad and start scribbling down some descriptions.
And give him the name of the guy who's in charge, his rank.
Oh, we know Major Medwin. We are.
Yeah.
We don't know him personally, but we know him by reputation, and we know of him.
Oh, and speaking of, can we get a couple of these rifles for us?
He kind of raises an eyebrow. And, why don't you take them from the? Eventually, he then stops himself and thinking, yeah, probably we should keep away from the warehouse for the minute if the ONI are sniffing around. He sort of gestures towards one of the guys, and they go up and pick up a couple of the 3006s and bring them over to you.
Thank you.
Well, why don't
They could just bring them to us tomorrow.
Yeah, bring them to us tomorrow.
Yeah.
That way we're not spotted going back to the hotel with them.
We'll arrange to have boxes shipped over here. We're going to have to pay the bill, Mr. Sterling. So.
Well, didn't that take care of it last time? Well, you paid?
No, that delayed them. That was $300.
Right, but I'm assuming everything was paid for already through customs and all that stuff to get to that point. He was supposed to pay us money for the merchandise, but the shipping and everything is paid for, right?
Yeah,
The only
except that
money
you
we
just
were
gave them
owed-
to him for free. So we've got
Correct.
to go and send them. We've got to get them from there to here.
No, he has a bill of sale now. He can pick them up. We don't have to do anything. The only thing I was supposed to do was hand him the bill of sale so he can pick them
Oh,
up. and
okay,
collect the
okay.
money he
Right, 'cause
owed me.
Right, we're talking about the half that's already in the warehouse, and then the other half that you're
Right.
going to send later.
Now that 100 grand, this is not obviously in front of Senegal, but the 100 grand that he was going to pay me for the weapons, it's a 30% cost to me, so it's
Yeah.
$30,000 out of my pocket.
We're fine.
Yeah, the main thing that money you paid to the warehouse was because that they had held it longer than they wanted, because space is at a premium. It wasn't for
That's
the
right.
transport, because that's already been taken care of.
So tomorrow at set time, at set spot.
Now, if it's a 4-hour hike, and that's, I guess, Mr. Senegal, with your associates helping us cut through the roughage with machetes and whatnot. So
There
maybe
are paths.
we should meet at noon to be
I
there
would-
at 4 in late afternoon, or
I would suggest that we get to the cliffs by at least by dark, because then it will just
okay,
make it.
later.
Yeah, it's
Oh, for
it's
a
fairly
little-
dark there anyway, because the trees are so big they almost blot out the light completely anyway. But I would very much recommend going in under the cover of darkness.
Well, you call the hour and we'll be there.
I'd say 6.
All right.
All right.
Now, Matt, we had gear like boots and stuff at the hotel, correct? Okay.
You certainly did.
So
And-
we don't need anything.
No.
Okay.
Mr. Senegal, when you went up with your broken arms to save your brother from his fate, was there anything in this, what they call the star pools, that worried you?
I remember bits of it. The pools themselves are almost, imagine them as underground tunnels and caves that are full of water. I've heard that there is something. I mean, the Mama has said that there's something down there, and I remember from the far distance that I got to look at these things, the water was bulging as if something big was moving between the pools. They must be connected underground with tunnels and again all water filled, leading between the two. Well, the multiple, I think there's 6 from memory, 6 pools. There are huts around them, and then it's dense jungle forest around that. Oh, and a series of monolithic stones as well that are all dotted around the area. There's one path that leads in from the southwest, coming from southwest and northeast of that corner of the clearing. I imagine if it's anything like what happened with my brother Miguel, that it will be, he's kept in one of the huts that's going to be close to the pools. But I think with, 30 plus, mid-30s of us going up there, that we'll have guns, they won't. Hopefully we'll be able to even those numbers pretty damn quickly.
But nothing in the pool bothered you personally?
Well, I didn't see anything besides bulging water and something big and black moving underneath it.
Okay. Well, I apologize to keep pressing on your sad memory. What time of year was it that you had this conflict?
No. It was a very, very hot summer. I remember that. I don't think the time of year is particularly significant. Admittedly, it's unfortunate for you that it's landed with your son being so close to a particularly potent time of year.
This might seem like a strange question, but did any of us try to contact you within the last week or so?
Any of you?
We've
Did
been
any-
losing memories.
Again, there's this look of maybe a little bit of confusion again that comes over his face. No, you haven't tried to contact me.
So at least whatever we've done before, we didn't do this.
No, we've never met before.
Excellent. That's a good sign.
I'll take your word for it. Well, I think we have an understanding. I and my men. Well, I won't accompany you. Like I said, I've been up there before, and I know that I'm not going to get away with this twice. But as many of the men as I can raise and that are willing to go up there to obliterate every last man, woman, and child that's up by those pools, then I'm willing to oblige if it means that you provide us with weapons that can help liberate our country. So you have a deal.
Great.
You know where we'll be. We'll be there at 6. Bring some boots. Can be ready for a long hike. And he extends a hand to you again.
And shakes. Thank you.
Right, I bid you good evening then. And he helps walk you to the door. He's not very difficult to read. He feels like he's got a lot of weight on his shoulders all of a sudden.
So, back to the hotel or any other stops before?
I think we need a good meal and as much rest as we can get, because tomorrow's going to be a hell of a day.
I think we've exhausted all of our inquiries as well, so sounds like a good idea.
Now, Donna, on the cab ride back, you need to convince me why I'm not putting you on a boat and sending you back to your mother.
You think that if you think that's going to happen, then you really are acting like a fool.
I could
if
do it
you're
for
in
you,
this-
sir, if you want me to.
If you're in this, then I'm in this, and that's there's no question about it.
You're a grown woman. You can make your own choices, but if Jack's gone, somebody needs to take over the family business.
Okay, and I plan on coming home after this. I don't know about you.
And unless your mother or I are in danger, you bleed them for every penny you could get. Don't do what I just did. I did that to get Jack back. But if not, you squeeze every penny you can out of the bastards.
Sure. I mean, there's there's more to life than money, but money is a good way to get from here to there. You got it.
Order whatever you guys want for dinner once we get to the hotel.
It is going to be a little while before you get back to the hotel. As you are driving back, even though it's well into the night by now, you have a feeling that some of these ceremonies or some of these celebrations that you're passing are going to be going into the wee small hours. And you pass another cemetery on the way back to the hotel, which you can see now there's a little bit more activity taking place. There's lots of dark crosses which have been set up, maybe with burnt wood, where they're adorned with marigolds, little candles, and you can see people pouring what looks to be bottles of this white rum, and then sprinkling it with black ground coffee all over it, before they seem to be chanting and kneeling and bowing to these offerings to a certain baron. Who is in the first? If you're going in procession with one cab after the other, who's in the first cab?
I would assume the Sterling family would be in the vanguard, and the lackeys would be in the rear. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Guy and Dirk in the second car. Okay. Now, driving around here, because it is so hot, the windows are almost certainly open in the taxi. So those of you in front will be able to hear what happens in a second in the for the rear cab. You catch sight of a figure that's dressed in a long black coat, trousers, probably no shirt underneath because, hey, it's so damn hot, with a big black top hat and face paint all over his face in the shape of a skull. He is dancing through the crowd. He kind of swoops in front of the first car and goes along the side, kind of making eye contact with Donna and Amy and giving you a wink and a smile. And then he goes in front of the second cab, stopping it slightly as he gives a big grin, and then very flamboyantly kind of pirouettes and turns, and goes down the length of the car. As he passes by Dirk's open window, he looks at you with a big grin, smiles and a flourish, brings up his hand and goes, and then blows a whole handful of powder directly into your face. What do you do? You're also so stunned you are muted.
Breathe out, not in. Eyes, and start feeling for my gun.
Okay, you put your hands up to your face, and as you start to pull them back, you realize there's something in your hand as you pull it away.
Oh, is it a card?
Indeed. The only one that is not inverted from your spread.
Huh. Does that mean it's a worse betrayal, I wonder? Or... God damn it, it's in my hand. I was trying not to touch these things. I sort of toss it down to the floor of the cab. How's the air? Hey, guy, are you okay?
I'm fine. Where is he? Where's the guy gone?
Give me a spot hidden if you're looking for where he's gone.
Yeah, I am looking for where he's gone. 38 that's just a standard pass.
Dirk's very quiet again.
I rolled a 3.
Oh, right, okay. In which case, Guy can give me a luck roll. Dirk, you're not giving me a luck roll. You're seeing every horrible detail.
32. Yes, that's a pass.
Okay, well, Guy can see, maybe from the benefit of where you are sat, you can see at least his shoulder, just round, you got the frame of the back of the car, you've got a window, he's kind of almost stood in a blind spot, but you can just about catch the edge of his jacket.
Is the car stationary?
It is for the minute, yes. Now, Dirk, from your vantage point, you get a more complete view of him as he turns his head back towards you, grinning. It's not face paint that he's wearing. There is a skull with a third socket and a third eye in the forehead. The eye blinks at you as you can see this almost sinewy mass connect this skull with this body. And this grinning skull just looks back at you and laughs with such a malevolent tone that it almost shakes you to your soul as you realize that you are looking at what was first depicted in the very first card that you found. Can you give me a sanity check, please?
Will do. Oh, that's a 70. That won't do.
That'll be a D4 then, please.
So my dice have become more complicated since the kitten wants to play with them whenever she's around. That's 3.
Okay, that's 3 points of sanity that disappear. What's Guy doing after you've seen that? In fact, you can see at least the shoulder of this figure.
Well, I'm getting out of the car. I'm going round the back of the car to intercept this assailant.
All right, you can give me an opposed dex check to see who goes first, to see whether you can get a chance to see him before he does something.
I've rolled a 94.
Okay. Again, this in which case saves you from a sand check. So he, with his dex of it's 18 in old money, so that'd be 18 times 5. So that'd be quite
90.
90.
Yep, 90. Dirk, from your position, sees that he just raises a hand and then just throws down another fistful of what looks to be some kind of powder or dust onto the floor. And Guy, you hear the woof as this huge cloud of smoke just erupts from the ground where this dust hit, thankfully obscuring the face and the body to the point where you don't have to make your sand check. But when the dust clears moments later, he is gone.
Well, I'm just going to head immediately to Dirk and check that he's okay.
I mean, we have to. We don't want to fall behind Sterling. That powder didn't make me forget. I'm awake, but Jesus, God.
Have we got any water? You should wash your face. You don't know what's in that. It could be anything.
Yeah,
I mean, poison. It could be a drug. It could be anything.
My handkerchief is already very sweaty. I don't think. Otherwise, we'll have to wait for the hotel.
I'll get back in the car. We should.
Yeah, we have to keep with
following
Sterling.
the car. But I mean, are you sure you're okay?
I don't know how we're fucking going to do this, Guy. They know where we are. They can hand us these cards wherever we go. And that fucking thing was not a man. That was it. That was it. He's mocking us.
It's probably something in that powder that he
Yeah.
blew in the window.
Yeah. That makes sense. Guy, it winked at me.
Let's just keep the windows open, get as much fresh air as you can, clear your head.
Yeah.
That's the important thing right now.
Yeah.
And
here,
take a nip from this, and I'll hand him my hip flask.
I don't know, Guy, I don't do that. I can't touch that stuff.
Maybe now's the time to start.
No, I had the time. You remind me. Have you ever been to Mardi Gras in New Orleans?
No, I always meant to, but...
Because this fucking madhouse out here makes that look like a Presbyterian Sunday school. But I've been to New Orleans 2 or 3 times. I don't remember a single day of it. So that's why I'm off the sauce. Jesus. But if we survive tomorrow, maybe I'll celebrate with a bottle of champagne and lose another 10 years of my life. If we survive.
Is Amy in with the two of them?
No, I think because the
4 of us are crammed
smiling
in the
skull
other
man. Yeah, he winked at me and Donna. So
Yeah. So we're all in the front car.
Mhm.
Yeah.
These are big 20th century cars, after all. Saloons.
You just squeeze everyone in. Don't worry about the seatbelts.
Mm-hmm. Seat
Cram them all in there.
Oh,
yeah.
Exactly.
We have pants belts.
right.
We didn't notice any of that was going on back there, so we're kind of stuck in traffic, aren't we?
You're kind of stuck in traffic, but as mentioned, the windows are open, so you at least heard Guy get out. So you heard a door open and shut, and then Guy getting back in, and some kind of commotion happening in the car, but that's about all you catch.
Mm-hmm.
That figure that danced by in the top hat, you can't see where he's gone. Although there is a cloud of smoke behind the other car. Maybe they're kicking out a bit more from the exhaust.
Well, if the cars are barely moving at this point because of the traffic, I'm going to hop out really quick and I'll walk back and say, is everything okay?
I'll just point to the floor of the car and show him the 10 of swords. Special delivery from the 3-eyed skeleton man.
The guy that just went by?
Yeah, it wasn't a guy. This is a guy. Guy Randall. That wasn't a person. That was something that wasn't a person. It was
Well, tell us when we get back. It's starting to move a little bit.
Yeah,
so
good.
I'm gonna run back to the other car.
Yeah.
They got waylaid by some weird guy in a mask. He gave him another card. We got all 5 cards now.
Guy in the same guy that winked at me and Donna?
I don't know. Did he look like a skull?
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like painted on his face.
Yeah, apparently he went back there and blew some dust in Dirk's face and handed him another card.
Does he remember?
Yeah. Well, we didn't see it, so he told me.
Well, there's the completed tarot reading, I suppose.
We need to get back to the hotel.
We'll take a look at it when we get back to the hotel, yeah.
Maybe we
You
should
have
lay
it?
all the
Sorry,
cards
O'Neill,
out.
did you grab it?
No.
Or is it still okay?
No, he's got it.
And I am likewise going to use the handkerchief to pick it up and put it in my wallet, which it sticks out of uncomfortably, but at least it's not touching my flesh again.
Yep, you can do that. Right, and without any other incident, again, other than the trawl of going through a few roadblocks before you get back to the hotel, you pull up outside and you head back in. As you go on in, the concierge kind of raises a hand. Monsieur?
Yeah?
Yeah, you have a guest waiting upstairs.
Oh, man or a woman?
A man. I believe he's from the embassy.
From the embassy? Military?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, fuck. All right, let's go.
Do you remember which rooms we're in this time?
When we get out of the elevator, I'd say...
This is certainly improving.
Well, he looks at you a bit confused again, and just shakes his head and goes back to whatever paperwork he's filling in.
I'm going to look at him with the hardened stare, typical, usually only amongst Peruvian bears rather than human beings. And that I am looking at the wall behind his head, and his face is simply in the way.
Okay, he catches the glance a couple of times and looks a little bit kind of perturbed. Kind of looks at you and then looks back down at his paperwork, tries to ignore it, continues doing his paperwork, looks back up again, looks down, looks up, and with a slightly rattled expression, is there anything I can do for you, sir?
And I'm going to walk off after the others.
You can always hear him wiping his
being
breath
intense, you see.
Right. Heading upstairs, you get to your row of 3 rooms. Dirk and Guy's door is ajar, but the other 2 are shut.
Well, I'm going to walk.
Well, I'm
straight.
going up first, so I'm going to go right to their door and look inside. Hello?
Right, sat on Guy's bed. Guy just sat there with a cigarette, the window open, and allowing a breeze to clear the air a little bit. Dressed in his linen suit, as you've previously seen him, is Major Medwin.
It's Major Medwin.
Oh, how courteous.
Oh, good evening.
Please make yourself comfortable.
Yeah, he chuckles and then gets up off the bed and takes a more leisurely stand and blows a long O of smoke out of the window, a ring of smoke. I was hoping you'd be back soon. I understand from the various teams that we had watching the place that you've been able to slip their watchful eye today. I was just wondering why you led them a bit of a merry dance.
First of all, if there's ever any reason for us to come back to this godforsaken island, Guy and I will make very reasonable rates for training your goons, because apparently their education is somewhat lacking to date. I mean, as a free citizen, if you saw that some goons were following you, obviously, wouldn't you shake them just because? It's insulting.
He nods. You just can't get the staff these days.
Just for the record, we distracted them by using some children. It was literally child's play.
That does make him laugh. So he does. He tries to suppress a chuckle, but he doesn't.
However, if you had been staking out the National Library, you would have seen us doing some research, because that is the kind of menacing foreigners that we are.
Oh, okay. So we didn't miss out on much at all then. So what answers did you find at the library?
Well, we found out we'd been there before.
Huh?
I mean, we seem to be retracing our steps pretty often. But I think we can say fairly that our memory has improved substantially. Wouldn't you say, Lot?
Yeah.
I'm starting to piece things together.
Oh, that's good. So what have you been able to piece together that our good friend the Doctor was unable to put together?
Mostly we learned that we came down here to find Mr. Sterling's son and that we have not managed to do so. Which is pretty frustrating.
We still have no idea. I have a question though. Did you find evidence in the hills that there were dead people?
Well, as I mentioned, we've only heard this from the newspapers and third-hand reports. So we haven't got a clue whereabouts in the hills any of these bodies might be.
Oh.
And we know, obviously, where you were picked up. But even so, that's still a lot of ground to cover. We have no idea which direction. We have no idea on distance.
Surely you've got a record of who comes into the country.
Yes, we've got plenty.
So if some Americans had come into the country and were missing and were unaccounted for, you know.
It's not a particularly long list. And admittedly, we've accounted for a fair number of these, but there are still a handful that we haven't found yet.
No. So far, the only mystery that we haven't been able to uncover is anything about that. I mean, we started to wonder for a while if, since we woke up in a hospital, if it was us that had gotten lost and that the newspapers were completely mistaken. But the more we look at it, the more it sounds like they found something, but we can't find a source for these dead bodies.
I must admit, I had a theory about what this might be. I thought it was, and then you're out again. Just everything just wobbles around you, and you hear a door shutting, and each of you are back in your rooms.
Did any of us take notes on this?
Give me a luck roll to see if you did. Because whether you were quick enough to write anything down as well.
Oh, by 1 point. I got it by 1 point.
Oh, okay. What juicy note would you have left yourselves?
And the answer is no.
I rolled a 2 for that luck roll.
Oh, okay. Oh, one point away from getting a chance to increase your PAL, but so close.
I wouldn't have taken notes. I was just trying to ignore.
I think it was mostly myself and Dirk that have been the note takers here.
I don't know.
You would have managed to be able to get one word down, or actually, no, I'll give you two words. Sterling hiding is what you wrote.
Yeah. So we're in our room. So I'll tell Guy, or at first, Guy, when did you go out?
Did both of us write that down, or did each of us get one word, or was it just Dirk because he had the better roll?
Both of you probably would have written the same thing. So you both have, in fact, because Dirk got the significantly better margin of luck, got a question mark at the end of Sterling hiding question mark, whereas you just have Sterling hiding. And
okay.
There was a question I wanted to ask Medwin. Not that I ever want to see Medwin again, but we didn't get a chance. Guy, the last thing he said was he had a theory, right?
Yeah.
And I jotted down.
That's what I got too.
And the pencil's barely on my notepad. I got Sterling hiding. So he had some theory about Sterling hiding something. And what I want to know is who the other Americans are, because I think they came with Jack. And we don't know anything about him.
Well, I've got a different theory.
Mm-hmm.
And my theory is, I'm afraid, not entirely very entertaining and a little bit skeptical. But I think the other Americans are us. And I think just Chinese whispers and gossip ends up with we struggle down off the mountain and get picked up and taken to the hospital, and somehow by the time that gets to the reporter, we were found dead.
Or not found dead, but died mysteriously.
Yeah, died mysteriously.
That's why they cut their bodies.
Or disappeared or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe we were disappeared by the military.
Yeah. Keeper, have I had an opportunity to wash the powder off my face and hands? Or am I just as I arrived at the hotel?
You are pretty much as you arrived at the hotel. You haven't had time to wipe it off. I mean, with the perspiration anyway, it's kind of almost like a sludge on your face in parts anyway.
And any sense of how much time we've lost?
Probably only a matter of minutes, you think.
No. All right, Guy, I'm going to wash my face. Let's knock on the other doors and make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah. Whatever it was he just told us, it's definitely related to whatever's triggering us, isn't it?
Now,
like
Matthew, you said, who heard a door slam?
All of you.
So I want to go to the window and look out. Is Medwin just leaving?
Give me a luck roll to see if you're quick enough to see it.
51. Yeah, 51 out of 70.
You do indeed see a car. Looks like a fairly official, almost like an embassy would have, complete with a little flag at the front. And you can see a familiar figure in a linen suit climbing in.
O'Neill.
Yes,
We've
sir.
only been blacked out from the time it took him to get out of our room into the elevator, maybe.
Yeah, but
unless
unless Mr. The Major Medwin is doing this to us, which I don't think that he is.
But it could be some naval secret operation thing to get me.
To what point? And how could he get us when I'm walking in the street? Or we may have had an hour-long conversation with the man and he was satisfied and left. And then we forgot it all.
I look at my watch.
You think it's probably about 5 minutes maximum.
Okay. So
missing.
I'm wrong with that, but I don't even remember what the hell he was saying just before we blacked out.
And
Let's check on the others.
Yeah, I guess I'll turn to Amy when we wake up and, I'll take a look and I'll say, that's interesting. So I know I'm not hiding anything. Do you think that it could be that my father is hiding something, or is Jack in hiding?
My initial thought was that it was Jack is hiding. Like, they think Jack is hiding. Like they're not taking any of this seriously, or like they don't believe in any of this magic talk, and that it's just that Jack's hiding. But maybe it is something about your dad hiding something.
Well, yeah, and I don't know. And ever since we woke up, I've had this strange feeling, and you don't think it's possible that we came with Jack, like when he first came down, and just forgot it, did you?
To me, that makes sense, though. Why would your dad have brought us down here if he thought your brother was missing? Like, if he was very concerned, his son is gone, why would he also bring his daughter and her 20-year-old friend with him?
Right. That's a good point.
I don't.
All right, let's go talk to the others.
Yes, let's.
Okay.
Is-
Congregating in one room again.
Is Durkin Guy's room is in the middle?
At the end, you've got in the row going from left to right. You've got yourself and Mr. Sterling. Then you've got the two ladies, and then you've got the two PIs. After that.
We go towards Amy and Donna's room.
Okay.
Just as they're coming out.
While this is going on, I'd like to go down to the front desk, please.
So we pass you as you're.
Yeah, you all kind of head out into the corridor at the same time.
Did you
okay?
blackout?
Yeah.
Yes.
So same here. And I'm going to head off down the stairs or into the elevator or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you head to the elevator and you can head down.
Everything okay, Guy?
Yeah, I just got to. I had an idea. I'm just going to go and deal with something.
Yeah, see you.
Does anyone remember exactly what Mr. Military Man said just before we blacked out?
Yeah, that he had a theory.
He had a theory. He said it to us. We listened. Then he left and we blacked out. Or he said something, some subliminal suggestion, and we all lost our memory and he left.
Okay, that's
all went
interesting.
back to our rooms. That's weird.
Right. Yeah. Why wouldn't we all have been in the same? Why wouldn't you all still been in our room?
5 minutes. Mr. Sterling saw him drive away. Or did you see him drive away? I forget who
It was
saw him
Sterling.
drive away. Sterling saw him driving away.
Yeah. So Ms. Sterling, Miss Lachlan, when you went to the tarot reader, was the Ten of Swords up?
It was right side up. It
Or
was right
upside
side
down?
up.
The only card that was right side up.
It was the only card that was right side up, and she
Okay,
said,
so that's how the three-eyed monster gave it to me.
and it means desertion and pain and like
Betrayal.
Betrayal?
There's going to be a desertion. Yeah. Well, there was two cards that hinted at a betrayal. One was betrayal, and then one was there will be a desertion.
Desertion. Oh.
The desertion, wasn't that the wands?
No, the one that Mr. Kessler just received, the swords. Let me
Oh,
get my notes.
Yeah.
Hey, do you remember if it was the wands or the swords that was the warning of false prophets?
The wands, no. The hanged man was false prophets.
Yeah.
You
Oh, that's
must ignore
right,
false
sorry.
prophets.
did anybody write anything down?
Yeah, I got a very helpful Sterling hiding ?
I wrote the same thing
Okay.
without the question mark, though, but the same thing.
All right.
I'm not sure that this has any significance, but it's worth noting that when we woke up and returned to the hotel, the first thing we found was the death card inverted like in the tarot reading. And Mr. O'Neill, you found the devil on your excursion, correct? Where did you find it exactly?
I found it in between a couple of crates of guns.
Okay, the hanged man we found in the book as a bookmark, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, is there any, and then the Madame Josephine gave us the wands,
Correct.
Yes.
and then this random
Teaches ten
figure
sword. Yeah, 10
gave
swords.
us the swords. Is
He
there
was
any
random.
correlation? Do you think that the Hanged Man could indicate that the book is a false prophet, or do you think that do you think that the cards have any significance of where and when we found them?
Well, let's go over them again. We found on the mirror
Death inverted.
death inverted, which means
You've come to an impasse, lost something important to you. Lost
We've
your
lost
mind.
Jack.
we
We've
assume
lost
that's
Jack.
Jack,
Yes.
right? The second card is the devil,
Devil inverted.
which I found with the. All right,
Warehouses.
maybe the door is closed. Mr. Randall's not here. He went downstairs. Look, I think if Mr. Sterling is hiding anything, then I think you've all figured out what kind of business we do. And you need to keep it to yourselves. But
Well, if the first card was in my room in the mirror and it's death, maybe I was supposed to find it and see myself in the mirror.
yeah, but what does death mean? You said it means
Lost. You're at an impasse.
you lost your
something
son.
important.
Right.
Right.
Also,
But I'm trying to get to the
So what's
fact that
yeah.
I found the devil with the guns.
What does the devil mean?
Clarity, insight, intuition dominates intellect.
Okay, so that was-
trust your intuition.
Which that we could Senegal could be an ally.
Okay. The third card we found.
The Hanged Man, which is
In the book,
false prophets.
ignore false
potentially.
prophets. Yeah, you must
So-
ignore false prophets.
So what was in the book? The book was the sex book,
No, the
African
book.
sex book.
Yes, it was the flying horror, the cult of the flying horror.
Yeah, it mentions a rite similar to what is depicted on the card, and then we have notes from Amy that infer that this cult is doing a similar ritual.
also remember that this 5-card spread has
Connected meaning.
a connected meaning and also an internal structure. So the death card is in the past, and that's where the loss is, because Jack was already gone.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
the second card that shows up is the present, where we're supposed to use emotion over intellect or vice versa. And the the false prophet, was
Selfish. Mhm.
next to the narrative of this evil sect. So maybe that's the false prophet itself. Yeah.
Maybe, but that is a little on the nose. So then what's Amy,
Also,
did
this
you write-
three-eyed skull son of a bitch is playing with us.
Right, and did you write down the wands specifically?
Treachery and loss. Deceive yourselves, and it will bring your downfall.
I don't like that because that's what we got at Madame Josephine's.
And what's
And
that position?
and that position is about our objective,
And it was inverted.
and the 10 of Swords is about our outcome.
Is it saying that
That's
our?
not a nice outcome.
But is the wands then saying that our objective that we're picking up from Madame Josephine is wrong?
I mean, as we said, these cards could just be the this thing playing with us, but that seems to be the meaning that cards are trying to imply. If I could make any guess,
Well, here's the thing. If there is some, okay, this is insane, but if there is some entity playing with us, as you say, then it's probably trying to tell us something with the cards. And we're trying to figure that out. Unless, of course, the thing is just totally chaotic.
I mean, it is called the Crawling Chaos, so
It seems so directed, though. What's the last card? The sword?
10 of Swords. Overcome the obstacle. You will feel pain and anguish, and will feel a low point, but the worst has passed. There will be a desertion.
And we found that blown into the face of Dirk.
correct.
And he showed me his true face. Because you all saw, I know Guy saw a man with face paint. His third eye winked at me. It was his real face.
But
It was probably the
whatever
same
he blew
guy who
in your
took-
face, could that have been a hallucinogen or something like
Maybe
that?
that's the betrayal of your own eyes.
Yeah, well, I
Did
mean,
you
I
hallucinate
expected to lose
anything
memory.
else?
We
No.
all saw that skull in Senegal's office.
Yeah. And
That had a
Senegal,
real third eye.
you know, Haiti seems like a pretty superstitious place to me, but Senegal shot his brother and that skull wasn't human anymore.
I don't think that bullet hole. Yeah, sorry.
Quick freeze. I know we're only a few minutes away, but I can't hold it any longer. Can I have a quick minute just to run to the restroom?
Sure. We're going to
I'll be
solve
back.
it before you get back.
2 minutes later.
So skip to Guy quickly for a moment. So the elevator doors open and you find yourself down in the lobby and the concierge is there. He hears the doors open. He looks over to you, over to see just almost reflexively who's coming out. And you can see him instantly kind of go on the defensive a bit. Kind of worried slightly that there's a bear that's going to be giving him a firm stare. You can see him visibly gulp. Over to you.
So tempted to ask him for a marmalade sandwich. I'd like to send a couple of telegrams, please.
Oh, yes, certainly. In which case, he pulls out a standard telegram sheet. If you'd like to fill this in, then we can make sure it's sent for you.
Okay. I'm going to fill out 2 telegram forms, each with the same message, which I will now send you there. I'm going to send one copy to the military hospital, military hotel, the military hospital,
Cunning. Okay.
and the other copy to the embassy. And I shall pay him for the telegrams.
Yep,
I'd
not a problem.
appreciate it very much if there's a reply, if you could have it sent up to my room as soon as it arrives, please.
Yes, no problem. Any time at all?
Absolutely, any time, day or night.
Okay, as soon as we get a reply, we will send it up to you.
Okay. I will
Very cunning.
head back to the elevator and up to my room.
Okay. At which point, I think everyone's still in the either whether you've migrated to one of the rooms or you've still out in the corridor talking. That's between you.
I assume we went into our room, which is the most public. Like, we're not going to hang out in the girls' hotel room. That would be untoward. Nor the
Inappropriate.
bosses. And since Medwin was in our room when we arrived, man, he's a cheeky son of a bitch. So we've got, what do we have? We lost very little time, but all memory. Medwin was just about to say his theory, and Amy and I got down only 2 words. But here, yeah, I'm drawn again to this thing. He didn't, I feel like Medwin's manipulating us. I feel like he's manipulating us, because why would we go to our rooms instead of just sitting there slack-jawed if it was an emotional experience that caused us to forget things?
Like multiple forces are manipulating us,
Yeah.
including Medwin. That's why I'm so worried about the cards. It's like, are the cards some sort of hidden meaning where it's like trying to deceive us by thinking, like telling us the opposite of what is true? Or is this thing playing such a fucked up game with us that he's actually giving us the answers with the cards? It's just like, you want to roll the dice? So that's what I'm worried about. And then as you said, we got Medwin on top of this, who's putting further ideas into our head and causing more blackouts.
Yeah, and the sequence, even if, the first card reader was in on some kind of conspiracy, they can't deliver the correct card at the correct direction wherever we happen to find them without something that isn't natural. And the thing that handed me the sword card wasn't natural. That wasn't a human being.
Is there any correlation between the times that we forget and something else like the clock? Like we forget on the hour or at 6 o'clock every night, or...
Now that you're looking for a pattern, give me an idea roll.
Ooh, 20. That's actually hard.
There is a pattern. In fact, there are two things that seem to trigger a blackout. The first one is that some kind of revelation, something important that you are being told, but also something that immediately brings down the shutters as a defense mechanism and stops you from remembering it. That's one trigger. So when you're told something in particular that relates to whatever happened previously, or something that connects, or something that makes a truth come to the surface that you do not want to reveal to or admit to yourself. That's one. The other one is whenever you split up. When you went to the docks on your own, when various people went to the library, it's whenever you divide, that is another trigger.
But it doesn't happen immediately. It happens during that event.
At some point when your group splits, again, like when Guy and Dirk stayed behind at the house, you then all of a sudden you just found yourself, or the bungalow rather, you found yourselves back at the hotel afterwards without being able to remember how you got there. Yeah, after some point, whenever something is resolved and you've done what you want to do, you're back at the hotel as a group again, or you're back where one of you was. Like, for instance, when you were at the docks, everyone else was suddenly with you.
That's true. Every time we come to, we're together.
Yes.
We only wake up as a group.
That's true.
Sterling hiding. Could that refer to young Sterling, Mr. Jack Sterling hiding? Now, you said it already.
I mean, that's what I would think.
If we have a blackout all of a sudden, what crazy, think crazy for a minute. What sudden revelation would cause you a great deal of distress?
That Jack did this purposely. Jack's a cultist. Jack's part of this group. I'm saying things to try and make myself...
Jack tried to kill us.
I don't think that's true.
I am relieved to note that the documents we have from our agency, guys in my agency, suggest that we did not accompany you all down here on some wacky joyride, but came specifically to help with a pre-existing problem.
I want to know how we even decided to look all of this up in the first place. The cult of the floating horror, the star pools, voodoo. Like, where did these ideas come to us? Because I've never had any experience with anything like this in my life, and I don't think any of you have either.
It's assumed that we know that we talked to the fortune teller, the tarot card reader before, and it's assumed that we talked to Northeast, but...
Why did we talk to these people, though? What led us to a tarot reader and an anthropologist in the search for a 20-year-old young man?
Yeah, we're following notes that I made. Why did I make those notes?
Yes, exactly. Like, where did you get these ideas?
Has Mr. Randall joined us? Are you still downstairs, Guy, or...
I was on the way back.
Okay.
I don't know if I've arrived.
Yep.
Have you arrived back yet? I'm back yet. I'm back.
All right.
3, 2, 1. I'm back in the room.
I mean, as you've said, Amy, the existence, the presence of you and I, and the presence of Mr. Randall and Mr. Kessler seem to be a contradiction, because one would imply that we came for a certain reason, and another would imply for a different reason. Why would we all come together if we were looking for Jack?
Why on earth would Mr. Sterling bring you and not one of his other sons? Like, why you, the daughter? Why me, the not even related to you?
I think the only thing that could have gotten me down here was to find my son. I don't think I would have come here for any other reason.
Unless we came with your son.
That's what I was thinking, and that's what I'm worried about. And then just forgot it.
Me and Donna are thinking maybe we were down here with Jack for some other maybe vacation, or at least Jack told us it was something fun when we came down here.
Why Mr. Sterling and Mr. Randall?
And I have to admit, this slipped my mind earlier, but I wanted to ask you. You didn't have Jack involved with this Senegal business, did you? This wasn't something that you delegated to him.
That would be a question for the keeper.
You don't remember?
Yeah, you don't remember. So yeah,
I don't know. I mean, could we remember that Mr. Sterling keeps this a secret from his whole family?
Maybe that's what he's hiding.
You would be aware of, at least to a certain degree, the family business and the family interests. It's not like he has this huge bunch of secrets that he keeps from you. He might keep certain details out of the way because that's plausible deniability after all.
So it's not like The Godfather. Don't ever ask me what I do.
Yeah, it's not like that.
Mr. Sterling, if we're throwing theories around, have you considered that this whole business with Jack might have been simply a ruse to get you down here?
But to what end? Unless the naval officials wanted to catch me allegedly doing something wrong.
There's a way we can find this out. Didn't the major say that they have records of when we arrived?
Surely the embassy does, checking passports and
we
stuff.
can see if Jack arrived with us.
We have records of when we arrived because our passports would have been stamped.
Right,
so all we need to do is look at our passports.
I'm going to go get my passport
but
right now.
I want to find out if Jack also arrived at exactly the same time we did. We don't have his passport.
That might.
We could find
if Medwin isn't willing to tell us that, we might be able to request it from the embassy, especially with you have a family member. You could spin it like, lost family member. He's my son. I need to know when he came into the country, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I'm going to look at my passport. When did I arrive in this country?
Thursday, October the 23rd.
And everyone else? When did you all arrive?
The same date. You all arrived together.
Okay.
Except for Guy and Derek, right? Dirk.
No, they arrived at the same time.
Oh, they
They
did.
did come with us.
Why would you have asked us to come with you, Mr. Sterling?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
So now we just have to find out if Jack came with us.
Right. I know why I'm here. I don't know why you let me come.
You are, well, in fact...
Maybe he didn't know you were coming. Maybe you're the Sterling that's hiding something. Sorry.
Sterling can give me an idea roll.
69 out of 90. That's EDU. Oh, no. I'm one. Yeah, I made it by 1 point.
You are, admittedly, you're still hazy around the details of exactly when you sent him. You're fairly sure you sent Jack ahead of you. So you came down here looking for him. He was already here.
Well, that confirms that, hopefully.
Yeah. But
why did you send him down here?
that's what I'm thinking. And unless it was to collect the money from Senegal.
Right, that's what I was thinking, because that seems like something that you would do yourself.
No.
Wouldn't he have mentioned that though? Senegal, if he had seen Jack, if he had or if he was supposed to meet Jack at some point, wouldn't he have mentioned that?
Well, then he didn't know where his shipment was.
Yeah, it'd be something you just wired.
It just doesn't sound like something you delegate to Jack.
But it would be wire transfers when the money was received in New York, the proper identification number for the collection of the objects would be Why?
Doesn't explain why any of us are here.
So if Jack came here for his own reasons,
No, but I sent him here.
you sent him here.
We know that for sure. You sent him here.
I just recalled.
Okay, you
that,
just
Just
remembered.
can't-
Okay.
but I don't have a clue why. And
But Amy, Donna,
Yeah.
could it be that before Jack left, for whatever reason, he knew of these things, the cult of floating horror, star pools, etc., and he mentioned them to you, and that's how we knew what to look it up, You think maybe he went, like he was involved in this, convinced your dad to let him come down here for some other reason under the ruse of something else, came down here, gets too far into any of this. Was Jack interested in that kind of a thing, the occult?
Not that I remember or recall. I mean, he wanted to be like Dad. He was interested in the business and doing all this stuff. In fact, I'm gonna be honest with you. I hadn't really
Not
spent a
very
lot of
close
time.
to him.
Yeah, I hadn't really spent a lot of time with Jack recently because he's been so busy with the business things.
Anna, could Jack have been here before? Maybe met a woman, got involved with her, possibly gotten her pregnant.
Why would
You
you send him?
think that I would know more than you would?
Well, he wouldn't tell me that. I have someone in the Hamptons waiting for him.
He's been talking to you more recently than he has to me, so I don't know.
I think the key lands with why you sent him here. You wouldn't send him here unless you wanted something.
Correct. And this paltry dealing with Senegal is not worth. It's not. It's money, of course. But
Doesn't seem to be tied anyway. The dealings with Senegal, and unless
They just seem to be.
this is some kind of retaliation for your dealings with, like, if the locals are some kind of retaliation for
which
it, but I can't
leads me
imagine
back
that.
to the Navy.
Yeah, they wouldn't do it this way.
No.
They would just throw arresting around, arrest people.
I think it's a good idea to stop by the embassy, see if we can find out when Jack came. But it sounds like we know for sure it was before us. So
Right, we know.
I mean,
yeah.
we've got our plan for tomorrow.
Do we
You have to
even
declare your intent when you arrive in a country, what you're doing.
I don't think a place like Haiti.
You don't have to tell the truth.
Yeah.
True.
They just ask you if it's business or pleasure.
Can somebody
Or voodoo, if it's Haiti.
Yeah, voodoo is always a good answer in Haiti. Can you just make a phone call to the embassy and ask instead of us?
Yeah, but I
going-
think we know the answer. We know the answer is that he didn't arrive
Yeah.
here with us.
right.
That's the only thing we wanted to know. And that you sent him. You would
But
send him for something.
What if does the embassy keep documentation on where the people are staying? We don't know where Jack stayed. What if we could find out where he was staying?
He might
Maybe
not have known.
his effects or something like that.
Yeah, where are Jack's things? That's a very interesting question. Did the military impound his things? Shouldn't they have handed them over to you as next of kin, Mr. Sterling?
If this is the nicest
he in this
hotel,
hotel?
on the island, we can assume Jack
Let's
stayed
see.
here.
Let's go check
Maybe.
Check
the.
the concierge.
Let's just go check the sign-in book.
Yeah, maybe his room is right next to.
I'll go down right now and check it.
We can't separate.
Well,
we all have to.
Guy was just downstairs. I think as long as we're in the same building, we're okay.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It's going
Oh, that
across
would be a
town.
good test.
Yeah, let's all
Good
write
testing,
down
yeah.
our new theory because I would like to actually find this useful at some point and not merely confusing. So the time is 9:18 p.m. Does that sound about right, Keeper?
Yep, pretty accurate by the look of it.
9:18 p.m. Sean asks concierge about Jack's
I'm gonna look.
Thanks.
I'm gonna look through the sign-in book.
You'll
We've had
probably
it
need
registered.
to slip the guy out sawbuck or something for that.
Flipping my gun in his face.
So win friends and influence people. Okay, so you head downstairs to go to the concierge.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sees you coming. Again, there's this little kind of whoa look as you approach.
I need to look in your registry.
Oh, any particular thing you're looking for, sir?
Yes, I'm looking to see when Jack Sterling stayed here.
Oh. Okay, he looks kind of from side to side. You can give me a persuade roll.
64. How's my persuade? It's a 50. How about my intimidate? Why is my intimidate only 15? All right. I
didn't build the sheets.
I'll spend 14 luck to persuade.
Okay. In which case, he sort of nods and says, "Oh yes, yes, that yeah." And he turns the book around and flicking back a few pages. Now the timeline only starts from when you guys arrived in Haiti, but I think Jack was probably on the island a little bit longer than that. In fact, I know he's definitely been here longer than that. Let me see if I can get more of an idea of exactly how long it was.
If they searched our rooms, they searched his too. I'm quite sure, and probably took everything he left behind.
They didn't know his room was here.
It says a few weeks, so he has actually he was there for a little while. So you end up having to go back through multiple pages of the sign-in book, and then tucked away in the corner of one page is the name Jack Sterling.
Jack Sterling. Here we go. Jack Sterling, October 1st. Say.
Yeah, so late September, early October. There's no specific date that's listed for it.
Here he is. Can you tell me what room he stayed in?
Yeah, that'd be room 104, the one right next to Dirk and Guy.
And did he ever? I don't see any place where he checked out.
Nope.
So he still has a bill that's accumulating.
No, he paid for about a month in advance. So his time is coming up. But now that I come to think of it, I haven't seen him for a while.
Can we have the key to his room, please? I'll pull out a $20 bill and put it on the table.
At that point, that look of, well, that wouldn't be particularly appropriate, sir, just disappears. And he takes the bill and just quietly and casually, kind of looking around, goes behind the counter, lifts the key up and slides it across the counter to yourself.
Thank you. And
pleasure doing business with you, sir.
Peace. And I go upstairs. You will never guess.
What?
Jack stayed in room 104, which is right next to Dirk and Guy's room. He paid for a month, so the room is still paid for. And here's the key.
Let's go.
Okay, you head on down the corridor, put the key in the lock, turn it, it opens up, and that is where we are going to leave it for tonight.
Our players included Jason Melnichuk, Holly Buto, David Gasway, Mick Swan, John Dos Passos, and myself, with Matthew Sanderson as the keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with our other members. You can set up a private game, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastery. There's a link below. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The cost involved with the show are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. You can find the link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.